Okay, hello, welcome. This is going to be my testimony on how I came to Jesus Christ, how he is now my Lord and Savior. And welcome, everyone who is new to my channel. Hello, I'm Universal, otherwise known as Uni, on this platform. And for those of you who do know me from my channel, from my shorts that I've made on my channel. That's been the primary way of how I've grown this channel in the first place. Hello, this is what I look like, this is what I sound like. For those of you on Discord who probably know what I sound like, this is what I sound like. You've heard me VC, but this is me now. But I want to just come on here and just talk about how I came to Jesus. I'm hoping that the Holy Spirit leads me and can help me deliver this message, because sometimes I get really distracted when I'm talking. But I want to start from the beginning. If you see any cuts in the video, that is me, because I probably stuttered or I probably said something and I had to repeat myself. But yeah, so I'll start from the beginning. But I was born in Romania to a Orthodox Christian family, and I moved to England, where I currently live, when I was 11 months old. So I'm 21. I've been here for 20 years now, 20 and a half years-ish in England. And my life has been it's been all right. It has been all right. I'm not going to say it's been a hard life. I'm not going to say it's been it's definitely not been a hard life. But it has been a very good life, and I've been blessed with the family that I'm in, with me having two younger brothers myself. And I'm blessed to be in this family. Now, in my family, we are Orthodox Christians. But growing up, I never really did anything Christian. I would call myself Christian by name, but I wouldn't walk in Christ. I wouldn't have my faith in Jesus. I wouldn't do any of this stuff. I wouldn't go to church, never read the Bible. And yeah, I've just lived my life just normally, like a normal child. Grew up, I think I got my first phone when I was 13. And just lived a nice good life. But so yeah, definitely for my first, I want to say from here, when I first got here when I was 11 months to when I was maybe 16, 17, 18. So that whole time span, it's been a pretty good life. Went through school, got friends, just chilled, loved life. Pardon me. And so yeah, when I turned 18, my life kind of just took a plunge. I was in year 13, I was doing my A-levels, these big exams, you have big exams, you need to sit for them. I only revised for these exams the day before. The day before was the first time I really tried to revise, and I'd revise the night before. I'd wake up at 5 to revise in the morning for 3 hours, leave to school at 8, and I have my exam at 8:30. That is, it's not revision, and that was because I was playing video games. I was playing video games from March to May, and in May and June I was doing my exams, and I was just not studying correctly. I was stressing about university, and then eventually it led me to not do university. Now the main cause for that, not gonna lie, I was very into different content back then, but I was into Andrew Tate. I would like to say back then I was really into Andrew Tate and the message that he was preaching back then. Now I do not follow him whatsoever, but back then he said something that did, it's something to keep in mind. I wouldn't say it's necessarily bad advice, but he always said to question why you're doing something, and then I was beginning to ask myself, why do I want to go to university? Why do I want to go to university? Why do I want to do this thing? And I'd answer that. I'd say why do I want to go to university? So I can do this degree. Why do I want to do this degree? And you just keep on asking yourself why to these answers and questions that you're proposing to yourself, until you eventually get to the root of the problem. You get to the thing that sticks, the main cause of it. And that's the point where I realized I don't want to go to university. I don't want to go to university because I don't enjoy it. I don't see the point of 3-4 years of studying. You're just collecting debt over the years. I just didn't see that. So then ultimately I called up my university when I came back from my vacation in Romania that year, and I called them up saying I do not want to go, and just left it, right? But then I was stuck. So September, October of that year, I think it was 2022, all I was doing was playing video games, right? My parents told me that I need to do something with my life. You know, I was playing video games for 12 hours a day, right? From like 8 a.m. to 8 p.m., I was just playing video games every single day. My parents told me I need to do something with my life. And they're completely right. I was just doing nothing. I wasn't going to university, I wasn't studying, I wasn't looking for jobs, I wasn't doing anything, you know? And that's completely fair on them. And then that led me to get my current job, which I've been working for the past, from November 11th, 2022 till now, what is it, September 7th, 2025 is when I'm recording this. That I've been working at that job, and it's helped me a lot. Made money. I have a job. I have something to get money from. My social anxiety, I was very, very socially anxious kid when I was 18. I thought, like, you know, I knew it all when I was 18, and pardon me. I thought I knew it all when I was 18. I thought I knew everything, that my parents don't know anything. You know, it's kind of that weird rebellious phase in a way, but it wasn't even like a rebellious early teenage phase. But then I definitely got over a lot of social anxiety. I couldn't even talk to women back before I even got my job. I couldn't talk to women. But at my job, I had like women on the heads, or like on headsets. We have women that you're talking to constantly. So I got to talk to women, and you know, that's just another life skill we just need, you know. But fast forward, when I was 19, 2023 is when I started getting into the community that I've been known for on YouTube, when I started making my YouTube channel. And YouTube has always been a very early goal for me. I think since when I was 10 to 12-ish, I always wanted to do YouTube, right? But then as I grew older, I just kind of like, I didn't see what I want to do. I wanted to do gaming, I wanted to do this on YouTube, but I never started anything. And then I started reading fairy tale. I still loved anime. I've been watching anime for a long time, since when I was a kid, but I didn't even know it was called anime back then. It was only around 11, 12 is when I really knew it was called anime. And I got into making shorts that most people on my channel know me for. And I want to say 2023 was one of the best years of my life. It was when I met a lot of online friends, the people that watch my content. And I got to know them so well. I have so many great friends in the community. And I'm so blessed to be able to have a YouTube channel, to be able to have created this content, and to have all the supporters that I do have. So 2023 was a good year. 2024 was kind of the start as well of like kind of a drop. But even in 2023, I was still living a really not depressed life, but like I'd come back from work, and then I'd spend the rest of my day on Discord just talking to people. And it was great for building friendships and building people online, you know, like talking to people online. At least I was talking to people, because my immediate friends that I had in real life, I wouldn't even meet up with them regularly. You know what I mean? But it was still really unhealthy. And in 2024 was the start of me like spending less time on Discord and actually just focusing on, like, okay, what do I want to actually do with my life? I can't stay at my current job. But I was thinking to myself, I can't stay at my current job that I'm at right now. I can't stay here forever, you know? I got to find something that actually pays more, that actually takes me further in the career ladder, or if I want to start a family at some point in the future, I want to be able to provide for them. You know, I'm not going to be able to provide for them on the money that I'm getting right now. So that's where my current headspace was at when in 2024. 2024, I want to say something really big happened. Really big, which really, like, I started feeling a lot of guilt and shame for some reason, but I'm over it now, but still thinking about it, it's kind of weird. But in 2024, I think it was around July 2024, I lost around £4,500 because I fell into a scam. It was all my fault. I wouldn't even blame the scammer, because I just got deceived. And I just gave money. Because I thought, you know, I didn't even know. It was like my Discord account was going to get banned or something. And then this guy who was a Discord support, quote unquote, was trying to help me, but then he was like, oh, you need to send this money, we'll send it back to you, blah, blah, blah. Don't even ask me, I was 20 back then as well, last year. Don't even ask me why I believed in it. I don't even know. I don't even know where my headspace was at, but I lost £4,500 that day. Now, of course, my parents were in vacation then, and then when they came back, I told them. My dad was visibly angry. My mum rightfully so as well, but my dad more so. And it was just a tough time for me. That's why I spent genuinely a lot of less time on Discord, and I started replacing Discord with gaming again, right? Even though I'd quit gaming for like around a year, I'd spent my time building up YouTube, talking on Discord, meeting or like building up these online friends that I have now. Even though I haven't been on Discord recently at all. And then I started replacing it with Brawl Stars, with a video game, Brawl Stars. Started playing that, and I played that since, I want to say April 2024 to maybe March 2025. I want to say that was basically, I went from Discord making shorts to then stop making YouTube shorts. Instead, I'd replace it with Brawl Stars videos instead. And then I just played that until like March 2025. And I gotta say, I was living in a rot, in a very cyclical rot. That is how my life, I would say, this past year has been a very cyclical rot. Come back from work, stay on my bed all day, my bed right here. I mean, you can't see it that much, but my bed over here. Stay in my bed all day, play Brawl Stars, play video games, watch inappropriate content, and fall into lust. That was something I was doing on a regular basis. And I'd just do that. And that was a repeat. Every single day, that was just a constant repeat. And I'd fake smiles. I've always been a very happy person, very joyful person my whole life. I've never really been one to be in sadness. And I didn't even consider, when you're living in a situation like this, you don't even consider that it's bad. You're just like, oh, this is the norm. This is how I'm feeling. Of course, I was trying to break that lust addiction that I was in. I was trying to break it, and every single time I try and break it, I'd fall back into it. Try and break it, fall back into it. That, I want to say, was definitely the leading cause of this this constant rot. My brain was just, and people say brain rot, right? And it's a very overused term now, but genuinely that is definitely what I'd explain my situation to be like. My brain was just rotting from all these things I'm shoving in my brain, and I was not in a good headspace, So I want to say depression, even though I didn't feel like I have depression, if I compare my life now to how I was back then, I was definitely depressed. There's just no reason about it. I had no life in myself. I had no life in my eyes. I sometimes look at pictures from me in the past, and I can just tell like these smiles that I'd put on when I take a selfie or something. And I don't take selfies regularly, but if I took a selfie, if I look at them now on my phone and my camera roll, it's lifeless. It's just not me, but that was who I was back then. Yeah, it was just a very rotting life. And then it really took a turn. I want to say people call 2025 the Great Awakening year, the Great Noticing. People call it that. And I definitely would like to say it definitely is. This year has definitely been the Great Awakening, the Great Noticing. And around April 2025 was when I started learning the truth about the world. This was mainly through Instagram Reels, and people are like, oh, you can't learn truth from Instagram Reels, you can't do this. Yes, I can, and yes, I did. I'd see a lot of Instagram Reels. Instead of getting like anime stuff that I'd regularly get, I'd get something about like just the truth of the world, how they've been lying to us. So, it starts off with like the moon landing is fake. And then you're like, the moon landing can't be fake. In school, we went to the moon, 1969, we went to the moon. We did this, we did that. And then you dig into it a little bit and like, oh, the moon landing is fake. We've never been to the moon. And then you start getting recommended more stuff, more fake stuff. And then you're like, I start delving into conspiracy theories, and people call it conspiracy theories, but I feel like people label them, the elites of this world label them conspiracy theories so that we do not get closer to the truth. And I started just delving into those, and from April to June, I was just consuming this content of what we've been lied to in school. Oh, pardon me. What we've been lied to in school. But yeah, you start digging into, I start seeing these reels, and 90% of what you learn in school is a lie. Probably even closer to 95%, maybe even 100%. A lot of stuff we've learned in school is a lie. A lot of stuff we've been taught outside of school is a lie. And then I start seeing the truth. Who owns the world? The elitists, people like to call them the elitists, right? Who owns the right wing? Who owns the left wing parties, the Democrats or liberals or whatever? Who is at the top? Who runs the world, right? And I start really delving into that. That was like my main, I liked going on Instagram during that time so much, and just looking at these reels and just seeing these reels. And you get to the point that you realize a certain religion, beginning with a J, control the world. Now, I'm not saying every single one of them is bad and controls the world, but the fact that the majority of the world is controlled by this certain group of people is quite concerning. We're controlled by them. The banks are owned by them. Social media owned by them. The school system is owned by them. The medical healthcare system is owned by them. Everything is owned by them. It's the pharmaceuticals. Everything is owned by them, right? And then, I start diving more into these people, who they worship as their God, because they are considered God's chosen people. And you do more and more research, and you realize at the end of it all, Satan and the devil is at the top of this, at the hierarchy of this, is at the top of this. At the end of it all, you realize that Satan is the one who controls this world. And I've seen many things that the devil does that runs this world. I have seen horrible things, and it got to one point where there was one day that I'd seen a lot of stuff about child sacrifices, about sacrificing children, and the fact that so many hundreds of thousands of children get abducted and go missing every single year. And you realize what they're using these children for, where these children end up after they die. I saw a bunch of this, and it got to a point, there was one day, I think it was early June or something, I can't remember, it was like late May, early June. I remember just crying, noticing that this is all happening. And then I had a revelation in that moment, because of all this stuff that we've been lied to this whole time, knowing that we are being controlled, knowing that children are dying, people are dying across this world, for these satanic cults, these religions, these satanic religions, who worship Satan, who do all this stuff. I watch all of that, I see all of that, I learn the truth about that. And in that moment of like crying, I thought to myself, if there is a greater evil in this world, there has to be a greater good, right? If there's a greater evil, there has to be a greater good. There's no evil without good. There's no way all of this happens for no reason. You know what I mean? There has to be, if there's such greater evil on this end of the spectrum, there has to be a greater good on this other side of the spectrum. And then I was thinking about that, and then I was like, if Satan is real, God has to be real. Because all of these stuff, I don't know how to explain it, but it just instantly clicked for me that if Satan is real, God is real. Like, you can't have one without the other. You know what I mean? So the fact that all these evil stuff are happening around the world has to mean that God is real. And then it was like, okay, what God is real, you know? And the easiest way for me was to just go to Jesus, right? And I know I've been brought up Christian, right? And for me, I've always believed that there was some sort of God, but I wasn't really like following them. You know, I wasn't really following God. I just like, if somebody asked me like, "Oh, what religion are you?" Like, "Oh, I'm a Christian." Yeah, I believe God is real. I could easily say, if somebody asked me, "Do you think God is real or not?" I'd say, "Yeah, obviously I believe that God is real." But like, I didn't know. You know, I believe Jesus was real, right? I don't know even back then if I believed Jesus was God or not, but that's completely separate. But then I started delving into Christianity, you know? And that's not to say I didn't open myself up to other religions, right? Like Islam. There was, you know, when I was following Andrew Tate back then, I was really considering like, oh, maybe I should convert to Islam because, oh, you get to have 4 wives, you get to do all this. But then you really realize that that is a very carnal desire to have 4 wives. It's just a fleshly carnal desire that you want to have all these women and do all that. Um, and that's not what I grew up learning and consider really consider appropriate in a way. I don't know how to explain it, but that's kind of how I want to put it. But yeah, so I came to Jesus then, and now I still really hadn't given myself up to Jesus. I hadn't given my faith, but I was researching Christianity, and yeah, I do want to make a video at some point talking about why I believe Christianity is the only true religion. I'll make that at some point. But in that moment, in that revelation that I had while I was crying, I believed in God. I believed in Jesus. Did more research throughout June and then throughout July as well. I did more research and I just saw so many points for Christianity. The way you're saved, the way none of your good deeds, none of the stuff that you do good in this life are worth anything. That even if you commit one sin in this life, you are sent to hell. And then, you know, there's other religions that are like, okay, you gotta outweigh the good deeds and do all this, but Christianity is the only one that I thought different, that I saw was different. And then when I really accepted Christianity as the true religion, there was one moment where there was one day, sorry, that I sat down on my couch and I turned on Netflix and I just wanted to see if there was any Jesus movies. I didn't really know too many Jesus movies, but I went on Netflix. I saw Passion of the Christ, which I heard about faintly, but like I don't really know. And I heard like it was a sad film and all that. So I was like, 2 hours, let's turn it on. And you know, they do say that once you watch Passion of Christ, you just cry. You just cry. And I cried, especially when Jesus was getting whipped, was on the cross. That whole segment, I was just crying. And then I went upstairs to go chill on my phone after I finished the movie, after crying a lot. I just needed like a breath of fresh air. And I wanted to go on my phone. And while I was watching the movie, I left my phone upstairs to charge. And the funny thing is, my phone has a problem when it's charging. Sometimes it just like, it doesn't really charge. So I went upstairs and I saw that my phone was still at 0%. It was just dead, right? And it's almost like God was like, no, I'm not going to let you be on your phone, right? I want you to talk to me. So I got on my hands and knees. I went on the ground, and that was when I gave my life to Jesus. That moment after crying on the Passion of Christ, seeing what Jesus did for me, did for everyone on this earth, and yeah, that's when I gave my life to Jesus. And since then, my life has been so exponentially better. Like it's undeniable that my life has just gone like through the roof, like in terms of happiness, in terms of joy. Of course, there are days where I struggle. I've had recent days recently that I've struggled. But the thing is, even in those days of struggle, I know that I can always come back to Jesus. I know he's always there, right, to pick me back up and bring me to where I was. And I have that support system. I have the own God, like my God, the creator of the universe, the creator of the heavens and earth. I have him, that I am his child. He is my father. and I get to rely on him whenever I'm down. I get to rely on him and follow the right path. And my life has been genuinely so much better. My depression, I don't have anymore. I had a lot of anxiety. I had a lot of anxiety and worries about the future, because I was like, I need to get a better job. Then I need to somehow get a good job that can support a family in the future, because I want a wife. It's so hard to find a girlfriend nowadays. I want to be able to live a good life. I want to be able to do all this. And then I was like, I need to save up a lot of money to buy a house, to, make sure. It's just, I had a lot of stuff on my brain every single day that I was just constantly worrying about, and it was just stirring up in my brain. And with Jesus, he just like removed that. I asked him to remove that from my life, and it's gone. Like, I don't have worries about the future anymore. I don't worry about what girlfriend I'm going to have. I'm not worrying about how much money I'm going to save for a house that I want to buy. Pardon me again. That's like the 5th time it's happened. Kind of crazy. And my anxiety is about the past. Like, I used to sometimes look back on the past and just think of my mistakes and all that, but it's all in the past now. And I've been wanting to live like this for a long time, but I can truly say that I really live in the present. Like, it's so hard to describe, but I'm really grounded. Each day, I'm living as if it's own day, right? Some days I'd be living that day, but I'd be thinking only about the next day. I wouldn't be thinking about the current day that I'm living in right now. I'd just be thinking about the next day, right? And then I sleep. When I wake up, I'm thinking about the next day after that. There was no peace. It was just continuous like worry and anxiety about the next day. And I'm really healed from that, and I've come such a long way. Sometimes it's hard to really realize with my journey with God, like how far I've come. But making this video and just explaining my life throughout has really it's really stirred in my brain how much I've come from where I was in that little rut of just constant depression, constant anxiety, constant worrying, constantly falling into sins like lust. Lust was a very big one, still is a big one, but I'm doing so much better now with the Lord. But I can't explain. And the peace of mind that you have with Jesus is, I was thinking about it today and even yesterday actually, and when I just shut off and just do not think about anything and just shut my brain off, shut like any source, and just sit in silence, right? I have this indescribable peace in my mind that only comes from the Lord. Like this peace is just inexplainable. If you know what I mean, you know what I mean. Especially if you're with Jesus, then you understand that. But you have this sense of peace that like everything's gonna be fine. You don't have to worry about the future. You don't have to worry about the past. Just focus on right now. Focus on right now. And my journey with Jesus has been so great since like July, since I gave my life to him. I've struggled. I finally picked up a Bible. I have it right here. I have it right here. I haven't read all of it yet. I'm kind of trying to binge read through it because I'm going to make another video soon. I want to make another video explaining the next 2 weeks. The next 2 weeks, what to look out for. It's going to be a very exciting 2 weeks for some. It's going to be a very dangerous 2 weeks for for some people, or for most people actually. But yeah, so I finally picked up a Bible, reading it. Currently in Psalms, by the way. I want to try and finish Psalms today. I'm not even going to lie, but I'm going to do my best. I just finished Job. And I finally went to church as well. I don't go to church anymore because I went to 2 Catholic churches and then an Orthodox church. And it's great. I can see the vibe. I can see what church is about. But for me right now, that's not what I'm putting as important in my life right now. In my life right now, I just more importantly, I want to read my Bible and make videos on YouTube. This is the start of a few that I want to make. And I just feel like that is like my calling more. As my calling right now, rather than going to church. And I'm not saying church is not important. Don't put that in my mouth. I didn't say that. But for me personally, I feel much more aligned with either reading my Bible or making videos on YouTube. And I want this to be the start of a few that I want to make. But yeah, now my life with Jesus has been so much greater. And the thing is, even last year was, my brother came to Jesus last year, and he's been telling me for, well, the past year to come to Jesus. And, you know, I didn't really take heed to what he's saying. And he got to a point where he told me that he was just praying for me, but he wasn't like gonna tell me anything about Jesus anymore, you know, because he planted the seed in me and he's letting God grow it. And God indeed grew that seed into being a follower of Jesus now. And I'm forever blessed. It's, yeah, I don't know what else to say, but I'm just forever blessed. Now I know people have different testimonies. I'm not going to say like, I know people have some wacky testimonies, you know, like they got sent to hell or Jesus appeared physically in front of them or something like that. But for me, it was discovering the truth about this world. Who runs the world? Why do they run the world? Why is Christianity the only religion that is mocked in Hollywood? Why do you never see Muhammad mocked in Hollywood? Why do you never see Buddhism or Buddha mocked in Hollywood? Why do you never see like Hinduism mocked in Hollywood? Why is Christianity the only one? You know? And if you know that Satan rules the world, then you would understand why Christianity is the only religion that's mocked. I'm stuttering over my words, eh? But yeah, so that's why I came to Jesus. I'm gonna say my journey with him has been Jesus. And yeah, everyone has a different testimony, but mine is discovering the truth about the world and realizing who controls the world, who runs this current world that we are in, and realizing there has to be a greater good. When there's this greater evil in this world, there has to be a greater good that's up there. But yeah, I think that's the end of the video. That's the end of my testimony. It's not like, as I said, it's not like a particularly powerful testimony of the supernatural. And I know Jesus is supernatural, and I've seen people's testimonies of Jesus appearing supernaturally to them, showing them stuff. And you know, for those brothers and sisters in Christ, you know, God bless them for Jesus allowing them to see supernatural and them coming to Jesus. I came through Jesus my own way, and it was God's timing. God knew exactly when I'd come to him. And I pray that anyone who watches this video also gives Jesus a chance to maybe, as I did, maybe look into who runs the world, why do they run the world, what is there to gain, etc., etc. It's completely up to you. But yeah, hope you all enjoyed listening. For anyone who's seeing my face for the first time, hello again. I wish you all the best. I'm not putting any like music or anything in the background. I just kind of want my videos to just be like authentic, no music, no what do you call it, filters, none of that. Just my voice, just authentic, just here in my room, on my chair, just dishing out what I can think of. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. And yeah, God bless all of you, man. And Jesus is coming back soon.